California megachurch. Also in attendance, conservative Senator Sam Brownback of Kansas.
Last time, we were both addressing the NAACP, and you know, they were very polite to me. They were very kind. And I think they kind of wondered, who's this guy from Kansas? And then Barack Obama follows, and so it's going, okay, now we got Elvis. You know, now we're ready. So this one I'm a little more comfortable, but welcome to my house.
There is one thing I got to say, Sam, though. This is my house, too. This is God's house. So I just wanted to be clear.
Barack Obama's stance in favor of legal abortion has some evangelicals angry. Rob Schenck, he's the president of the National Clergy Council, sent an email to reporters that said this, quote, Senator Obama's policies represent the antithesis of biblical ethics and morality, not to mention supreme American values. So will Obama's candidacy, potential candidacy, run into a roadblock from evangelicals? Here to talk about that, a man who knows Senator Obama well, Rick Warren. He's founding pastor of Saddleback Church. He has just been with Barack Obama at an AIDS summit there. He's also, of course, the author of A Purpose-Driven Life, the best-selling book probably in the history of the world. Mr. Warren, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you, Tucker. Good to see you.
Thanks. How do you respond to that pretty straightforward criticism that Barack Obama is responsible indirectly for the deaths of millions of unborn children? And that you shouldn't have them as a result.
First, everybody knows that I'm staunchly pro-life. If you've read Chapter 2 or 22 of Purpose-Driven Life, you know that I believe that God has a purpose for your life before you were even born, and that abortion short-circuits that purpose. So that I would be criticized by pro-lifers is pretty ludicrous to me. But the real issue is, if you can only work with people that you agree with 100%, you'll never get anything done, because I can't even get my wife to agree with me half the time. And I want to be a uniter. We're trying to provide a coalition on civility. My model is William Wilberforce, who got the abolition of slavery through the Great Britain, and the way he did it was by building co-belligerencies with people on different issues. He wasn't necessarily an ally with them on everything they did, but he would say, for instance, I could work with feminists in their opposition to pornography without agreeing with all their agenda.
Right.
And I can work with gay people in their opposition or attacks on AIDS without having to agree with them on everything, and likewise with me. We have to work with people we don't agree with in order to get anything done.
Have you talked to Senator Obama about abortion?
Oh, yes, personally I have. Of course I have. He knows exactly where I feel.
Do you think that you're having him, finally on this topic, having Senator Obama come to the conference, the implication is that somehow it's an endorsement of his candidacy, or that he is using you, along with Senator Brownback, who's also running for president, for political ends? Does that make you uncomfortable?
What? Not at all. Actually, we have 60 different speakers here at this conference, some on videotape, some live. We've had, let's see, Bill and Melinda Gates, Bono, the First Lady, Laura Bush, Senator Bill Frist, leaders in healthcare, leading pastors, Dennis Rainey, John Ortberg. In the next session we're in, we have the president of World Vision, the president of Compassion, the president of World Relief, and the president of Samaritan's Purse, Franklin Graham. And so we're actually bringing people who normally wouldn't talk together together on this issue.
Do you think, Mr. Warren, that evangelicals as a group, or evangelical leaders anyway, have put too many of their eggs in the Republican basket?
I think it's dangerous when any political party co-opts any faith. And I believe that we need to stand for the greater good in our country. I'm looking for a coalition on civility of people who radically and fundamentally disagree with each other can still treat each other with dignity and respect. I don't think it's right to demonize people you disagree with. I think Jesus said we're to respect and to love even our enemies.
Amen. I agree with you completely. Well, tell me about Barack Obama. Most people have heard of him. They know that he's very popular among Democratic activists. They know that he's running for president most likely. They don't really know much about Barack Obama, the man. Tell me about his faith. You've talked to him about it. What's your estimation?
Well, You know, in the last session, I had two senators speak. One of them is the face of compassionate conservatism, and I think the other is the face of compassionate liberalism. And what they have in common is the compassion, and that's why we brought them here, because they care about AIDS, not because of all of their other different viewpoints. Both men did publicly express their personal faith in Jesus Christ. Both of them are church members. They clearly have different political views, and I would say that I could show you Christians that run the whole spectrum politically, and that's not what we're about. This is not a political issue. I'm a pastor, not a politician, right. And we're about trying to save lives.
Well, good for you. Have you talked, though, to Barack Obama? My impression was you talked to him about his spiritual journey, his relationship with God. What was your impression?
Barack Obama's pastor is Jeremiah Wright, one of the great godly preachers in the black church, and so I know he's got soul because he's got a good pastor.
What do you think that there's been when evangelical churches and Republican politicians meet? It's often on, has recently been on the subject of gay marriage. Do you think the evangelical movement has spent too much time focusing on questions of homosexuality?
Well, I definitely believe that we should expand the agenda, because I'm tired of the church just being known for what it's against. I want the church to be known for what it's for. I am in no way lessening my convictions on what I believe about gay marriage or what I believe about abortion. But I do believe that there are other issues involved, including 40 million people who have HIV/AIDS, growing to nearly 100 million by the year 2010, 20 million deaths. You know, we've had two Holocausts in my generation. One of them is the 40 million people, Americans, who aren't here because of abortion, and the other is the 40 million who are dying right now around the world because of AIDS. 20 million have already died. I don't think one is more important than the other. I think pro-life means you care about saving lives any way you can, and that means malaria, that means poverty, that means waterborne eye diseases and many other things, not just one kind of protecting life. I'm for protecting life, all of life.
Yes. Why do you almost never hear evangelicals talk in public about divorce? Divorce has, obviously a huge effect on literally most Americans. It destroys families. It really hurts children. You'd think that evangelicals would be the one group who would stand up and say, actually, slow down. Maybe divorce isn't the answer, but you never hear that. I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, it's very easy why. Because it's easier to point at people's sins that you're not doing and not point at your own sins.
Yeah, well, there's some evidence that that there are evangelicals who are committing other sins too. But not to beat up on Ted Haggard, but you know what I mean. But look, divorce is one of those things that, everybody knows someone or is related to someone whose life has been hurt by divorce. It's something that's addressed specifically in the Bible in a way that homosexuality, in fact, is not. Yep. More explicitly is divorce mentioned. And you just never hear anybody. Is it just cowardice, do you think?
I think it's caving into culture. I really do, because the Bible makes it clear that that's just as wrong as a number of other sins, and it's become an acceptable issue. The fact is, we have many, many children today growing up in America without fathers. And that is creating a generation of chaos, in my opinion. And you can just see it on television. You can see it in the movies. You can see it all around. I look at these situations as this is not a culture war. This is a war. These people are a mission field. These are people who need the good news. If I thought you could change lives through laws, I'd probably be a politician. But you can't change a heart through a law. You can only change them through a spiritual encounter with Jesus Christ in their heart, and that's what I believe in. So I'm working on hearts. And the other thing is to realize that politics is always downstream from culture. By the time something becomes a law, I'm sorry, it's already in the water stream. You have to look at, move upstream, and what's influencing culture right now is entertainment, sports, and media. And so if you want to influence culture, you need to start in those areas, not in politics.
So, and finally, you, as we opened this by saying, took some heat from some evangelicals, isolated evangelicals, about having Obama there.
Yeah.
What about your own congregation? You've got a huge congregation. Did anybody give you grief about this? And how did they respond to Obama when he spoke today?
I didn't get any grief. I had questions, but this last week I did a message which we're actually posting on the internet on Saddleback.com and PurposeDriven.com. Is a site called Why We Do, a message called Why We Do What We Do, and it explained the convictions on why do we do what we do, why do we go where we go, and why do we make the decisions the way we do. We base all of our decisions on the Bible, and that message is available. Anybody can listen to it on the internet sites.
All right, Pastor Rick Warren joining us. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Tucker.
Still to come, as the Democrats look for a winning ticket in 2008.